Hey, what's happening, friends? Welcome to the Aloha Friday Real Estate Show. We are actually gonna kill some time here because our friend Peter had a quick technical meltdown with his computer this morning. But the good news is Ashley and Heidi are ready to go. So we're gonna make some small talk, see what's going on, see how the holidays were, and there he is. We're talking about him, the man, the myth, the
I
legend
made it.
himself. Just made it.
Man, I had a
So-
beautiful. There's nothing quite like. Thank you, Dylan, for starting this out. There's nothing quite like a meltdown to start your day in the new year. I'll talk more about that later. But hey, thank you all for being here. Welcome everybody. Welcome. You are part of. You are on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Real Estate Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, Dylan, for covering. We have got a lot of stuff shown to you tonight. I got a little technical difficulties here still. Let me get my screen share going. Let's see. Let's do it this way for now. Okay.
Oh.
There we go. What's that?
No, go ahead. I hear dinging. I'm like, what's the dinging? But it's my phone system on my computer calling me. So
it's a great way to start the new year. Welcome everybody. All right, here we go. That's it. Here's what we got planned for you today. Okay, so I've got more technical issues. Dylan, you may have to. We'll worry about it later. I can't. You know what? If I share the screen now, it goes like this. It shows you, but that's okay.
So I'll close out and come back in. And you should take over. I think. Yeah.
Should be okay. Should be all right.
I'll be right back.
Thanks everybody. Thanks everyone for hanging on there with us. Let's see if this works now. Yes, it does. Okay, great. Excellent. Okay. Wow, that's a great way to start the day. Okay, so we got some great news for you today. Got some interesting news. A lot of stuff's been going on since the beginning of the year, since our last exciting episode. We got a market update where our friends are going to be talking about the what's going on in the market and what they're seeing. And we've got some diamonds and deals where we're going to be talking about some great properties that you want to know about. And we're going to close with some motivational thoughts. This is our first podcast of the year. Our broadcast of the year. So let's warm up as if I need more warming up now. Jeez. Let's warm up. Let's say hello. We got Heidi Dollinger, who is from Maui, and we have Ashley Wasan, who's from Oahu, and we got Dylan Nonaka is from the Big Island. Why don't we go counterclockwise? Heidi, how's the coffee today? How's Maui today? How are you today?
It's a gorgeous day on Maui, Peter. And as you know, I'm very passionate about Maui coffee. That's usually how I start my day. I'm actually drinking Kona coffee this morning from the Big Island, and it's really great. So I highly recommend this as well, I have to say. But I do love my Maui coffee. So Hawaii has so much great coffee.
You know, when I first moved here, I had my first real cup of coffee, and I couldn't believe it was even possible because, you know, mainland coffee is all like, you know, Folgers in the can until you come over here and it's like it's beans, it's ground, etc. So thank you, Heidi, for chiming in, and thank you for being here. Ashley, how's Oahu doing? How's the windward side? How's the weather? How are you?
It's beautiful. This is like the best, I'd say, winter that I've experienced on Oahu for some time now. It's just enough rainy where you know that the weather shifted a little bit, but it's overall still very warm and inviting. And I don't know. I think that it's perfect, probably the most perfect December, January I've experienced in the last 15 years.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's been actually amazing. It's been remarkable how that weather has been. So really stoked about that. Dylan, give us the update from the Big Island there.
The Big Island, and you're going to talk about this in the news, I'm sure, is foggy. That's the update, is that the volcano is back on. It's crazy how foggy it is. We were definitely spoiled for a while there, for a few years, actually, with really nice, clear skies. But, man, it's been very, very foggy. But the bright side is, I'm always looking for the bright side. The sunsets are crazy. When the fog is here, the colors in the sky from the sunset are just absolutely amazing. So that's the bright side. But yeah, definitely everybody's excited about the volcano. Lots of folks been traveling up there and looking at it. And from what I've heard, I haven't gone yet. I've heard I had a cousin who was here from the mainland with her husband, and they went up and looked at it, and he was like, yeah, it's like, looks like it's like shooting up like 20 or 30 feet in the air. And I said, you're looking at like something that's like 2 miles away. It's like 300 feet. It's like small, so it looks like it's not very high, but I'm like, that thing is going off crazy. So yeah, that's the big news in the Big Island.
Yeah, I was thinking about you actually the other day about the VOG, because we were it was a VOG day because we had Kona we got Kona winds here. Actually, I totally agree with you. The weather has been absolutely remarkable, drop down, gorgeous, incredible weather. And I was thinking about Dylan because we've been having Kona winds actually quite a bit more than we normally do. And Kona winds bring and we had the volcano. And so Oahu looked like LA. It was like completely foggy. It was like, it was like there was a mystical haze. But thankfully that lasted only for like one day on that hazy, foggy kind of thing. So we're really happy about that. Cool. All right. Okay. Well, hey, I got some news I want to kind of share with everybody and some stuff that we can talk about. So, actually the first news piece was right here what Dylan said, and I've got a video here. I'm a little bit. Here we go. I got a video there. I do want to share. Dylan. Let me play this over here. Yeah, there we go. So, had some. There's the volcano going on. That was a pretty recent shot from the National Weather. Whoever the volcanic authority is. I forgot what they're called now. The U.S. Geological Survey, I believe it's called. But that was kind of fun. And so it's been off and on and off and on. So Dylan, right now, is it on right now? Is it off right now? I know it was on and then off and then on.
As of yesterday, it was still on, but it has kind of been like taking a break for a couple of days and it'll go off again. So it kind of depends on the day. And that's the really cool thing about it is if you come and visit, like it's really, you get lucky. If you get to see it actively going off, it's a lucky day. So it's not like it was previously, right? I mean, the previous from like 83 to 2018, it went off continuously pretty much. And you can see it anytime, sometimes more than others, but recently it's been way more sporadic.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that. But anyway, so that was part of the big news that Kilauea is off and on and off and on again. And of course, the other big news, if you haven't already saw it, is we had what's called the Eddy. I'd be curious. Ashley, you lived on the North Shore here. I got a quick video here I wanted to share about the Eddy. Let's try it this way. Does that work? Yeah, cool. So Ryan DeSexis has a great YouTube channel. He does a great job of doing drone shots, and you can see some unbelievable drone shots here of the Eddy Aikau Invitational, which is definitely a what do I call that? A bucket list item, a must-do item. If you ever get the chance to do it, it's amazing. Ashley, do you have a Eddy Aikau Invitational that you've attended story you want to share?
I went to the last one when I lived up there, and I got to sit in the hillside, and it's incredibly powerful. Just the IRL experience of hearing the waves and just feeling the mist of the ocean. It definitely adds another element to it. I don't have the best eyesight, so I didn't have binoculars. I actually like watching it from the TV a bit more, and you aren't shoulder to shoulder and bumping everyone. It's gotten pretty crazy where like you have to camp out overnight or know where to go. And we just happened to know where neighbor to walk through behind their house and park at their house. So we got lucky. But if we didn't have it, I don't think I would go again, just because finding parking is just such an unreal experience. But it is something to do. It's a bucket list item. My girlfriend's kids, they're still young and willing to camp out and be uncomfortable, and they made it out there. So they loved it.
Willing to camp out, be uncomfortable, rub shoulder to shoulder, not see anything, have insane parking, have insane crowds, 3 hours to get there and 3 hours to come back, and all the other adventures. But yeah, it's a great point. Hey, speaking of great points, I've been a little bit off my game here because I had a major technological meltdown. But I did want to say a hello to our friends who are with us again today. So Bob Carl, hey Bob, welcome back, buddy. Bob is Happy New Year. Hau'oli Makahiki Ho from Hawaii Kai Peninsula. Welcome back, Bob. Good to see you. And by the way, if you're with us, please give us a shout out. We'd like to know where you're from. Let us know that you're here. We want to see and say hello to everybody. And our good friend Michael Lada is back. Aloha from San Diego. Welcome back, Michael. Great to have you here with us, and happy New Year. Hau'oli Makahiki Ho. And Susie Q's got the coolest the coolest name spelling over there, Susie Q. Aloha and Happy New Year. Thank you, Susie. We are really glad that you're here. We're glad that all of you are here. Please make sure you say hello so we can also say hello back. It's a great moment. It's a great moment to kind of start the new year on some really fun stuff. So speaking of more really fun stuff here, going back to my news cycle here, I've got something that, a snowball's chance in Hawaii, except for the Mauna Kea, but a snowball's chance on the beach in Hawaii is we have lower taxes coming. Lower income taxes are coming to Hawaii, which is absolutely amazing. Hawaii's a deep blue state. Deep blue states don't lower their taxes. Hawaii did, apparently. And our governor, Josh Green, God bless him. He, I believe the quote I caught was like, we are going to become the 4th lowest income tax state in the country. How this all happened is beyond me. I'm just grateful as all heck that I can be. And that's that. And on a very, very sad note, very sad note, and I'm curious about this is maybe a discussion that we could all have here. It's a tragic event that we had with the fireworks in Honolulu. Hawaii's been a big thing for everybody about fireworks. Fireworks are so cool. Fireworks are so fun. Unfortunately, there was a tragedy, and there was a drone shot here that caught. It was a family. What happened was a family in the Salt Lake area had a terrible accident, and a bunch of fireworks went off. And I'm gonna just let this play here. You could got this right here. I'm gonna let this play. You can see this is an amazing aerial shot of, watch this house. Something up right here totally goes wrong, and you could see the unbelievable fireworks that are going off, practically at ground level, resulting in 3 deaths, I believe, and 20 people wounded. It was just a terrible, awful thing to kind of happen on New Year's Eve. Will happen anytime, but very tragic and very sad. And we are our great condolences go to the families that are suffering. I couldn't imagine a worse tragedy strike. And I know this is going to bring on a whole bunch of issues about fireworks and why they should be illegal and all that kind of stuff. And it's a great discussion that I actually would like to have if you guys are in the mood for it. But I'm going to end this on a positive note. There was a really heartwarming story of Lahaina families. Apparently there was a couple of nonprofits that got together and they gave round trip tickets. There was a bunch of families that lived in Hawaii, in Lahaina, that had to leave because of all the wildfires and all the things that occurred. They got relocated. They lost their homes. They lost everything. And their out was to go to the mainland. I don't know if it was back to the mainland or not, but they went to the mainland. They were living in the mainland. But there was a bunch of nonprofits led by Maui United Way with Alaska Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines, brought back and paid for 14 families to come back to Hawaii for the holidays. And that was a great moment, a great heartwarming event, and something that we can all feel good about. So yeah, with that, let's get to some discussions and kind of see what's going on. We got our market updates. First, I'm going to say hi to Chris West. Chris, welcome back. Chris is a member of the Islander Ohana, a recent alumni graduate of the Islander Ohana. So welcome back, Chris. Good to see you. And let's do let's get our market update going over here. Let's talk about kind of what's going on market wise. Why don't we go Dylan and then Ashley and then Heidi? What's been happening? And also, I would, because this is the beginning of the year, I would like to get from you folks some sense of a prediction, some sense of how do you see, not so much a prediction, but what do you see coming in 2025? Let's put it that way. What do you see coming in 2025? Anything you'd like to kind of say for people to think about, people who are looking at buying a home or investing in Hawaii real estate? What do you have to say to those people about, what you see happening in 2025? So market update and some sort of a 2025 forecast. Let's call it a forecast and not a prediction. Forecast. Dylan.
All right. So the headline for the Big Island is, if you look at the number of sales that happened between 2024 or during 2024 versus 2023, we had a slow year. So there was 4,469 properties sold in 24. There was 4,584. So small drop, but about 80 less properties sold. But historically, that is very, very low. Normally, that number is closer to 5,000, 5,500. And so we are historically low numbers of activity when it comes to the number of properties that are selling. But on the flip side of that, even though it's a slow market in terms of number of properties selling, median price is up across the board. So median price for homes is up 9.8%. Median price for condos is up 12.2%. And median price for land is up 11%. And so even though the market kind of feels slow, things are sitting on the market longer, there's a little bit more inventory, prices have not fallen. So everyone who keeps waiting for prices to fall or prices to go down, it's definitely not happening. Even in the what you could definitely call one of the worst, lowest activity markets that we've seen in really history. I mean, if you go back 15 years, you don't see a year where this low number of properties sold. So the forecast going forward, I think, definitely is more of the same. I think things are going to stay pretty similar in terms of activity. Interest rates, I don't think are going to go down. All of the forecasts are showing them pretty much staying around where they are, maybe down a little bit, like, a quarter point, a half a point, nothing crazy. But really, you can't go anywhere but up from here. I mean, we're at as low as you can possibly get just from a property transfer standpoint, right? People die, people move, people have to upgrade, people have to downgrade, and we're at a very low number of just properties exchanging hands. And so we're probably going to have more next year. But the big piece of advice I think for folks that are thinking about or in the market is don't wait. I mean, you're just going to pay more, right? I mean, you're going to pay more if you wait for interest rates to go down or whatever thing you're waiting for. If you're ready, willing, and able now, you definitely want to do it. You wanted to do it in 23 when the market was slow. You want to do it in the beginning of 24, and I would say don't wait to the beginning of 26. Do it now if it's something that you need to do. And prices will probably continue to rise at the rate that they've been rising, regardless of how many properties are selling.
Never bet against the Hawaii real estate market. That's my rule of thumb.
You always
never
say that.
bet
Yep,
against
absolutely.
the Hawaii. Yeah, never bet against the Hawaii real estate market. Just like I wouldn't bet against Elon Musk, I'm not going to bet against the Hawaii real estate market. It's been an unbelievably resilient thing. I remember, and really, and timing. Timing is a strategy that doesn't work, even if you think, like, for example, that you're a stock market expert. Timing does not work on, everyone advises against the timing issue. I think Heidi had a great line. I can't recall it verbatim, but maybe Heidi can remember it. The best time to buy is when you're something like really nice, like the best time to buy. I don't know about Heidi, what you say. The best time to buy is when you're ready to buy and you've something. I forgot what it is, but remember Heidi?
Yeah, I mean, the best time to buy is when you are ready financially and it's the right time for you. I mean, you can't time the market perfectly. Like, you very rarely could time the market perfectly. But if you're investing for the long term and you want to be somewhere a while or hold on to an investment for a while and you're ready, that's the best time to buy. Now, if you're not ready, it's never a good time to buy, no matter what the market's doing.
That's it. So get ready is my advice. Get ready. My oldest daughter has just bought her first house, and she's just like loving it. She's loving it. She loves the idea. This is to Ashley's point, who's brought this up many times about not paying rent. She loves not paying rent. She loves not being a tenant. So anyway, thanks, Dylan, for the update. So Dylan, a headline summary of what's your 2025 forecast or prediction?
More of the same.
More of the same, which has almost been like the theme of this show since the very beginning. It's more of the same.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing too sexy in terms of headlines, but more of the same.
Nothing too sexy. Well, we like not sexy headlines. Ashley, what's the update? Give us the update for Oahu and what you see the market, what's going on with the Oahu market, and what's your 2025 forecast, or I should say prediction. What's your 2025 prediction?
So we closed out 2024 with 578 sales. We talked about this over the show in the last couple episodes about how we were seeing a slower November and December than we anticipated. Just for comparison, in December 2023, there was 501 sales. However, we ended up closing out the year with more sales in 2024 than 2023. And so that's a big indication of how strong our market was here on Oahu. For example, for single family homes in 2024, we had 3,065 sales. In 2023, that was 2,885 sales. Condos, we had 4,613 ending the year. In 2023, we had 4,768. There was only about a 150 condo difference between the two. So you see this slight decrease in condo sales, but overall, we had a very strong 2024. For 2025, I think it's going to stay the same. We do have slightly higher days on market. We have more inventory for people to choose from. All that means is that people just need to anticipate holding on to the home a little longer and having, possible negotiations on terms, because there's more to a contract than just price, right? So we're not seeing huge deviations on list price. We're not seeing people sell far below their asking price, but we do see people negotiating on terms more. I think that'll still stand true for 2025. And I think that the rates will be some small variable, as they always are. So the news will follow suit with, buyers will follow suit with the news. But I anticipate us probably having a very similar year to 2024 this year.
So again, that reinforces the more of the same prediction that Dylan has given. I'll tell you, there's one thing that's quite interesting to me is that, we've been doing this now for really since COVID. So we're going on our 5th year, if not, we're going on our 5th year of this show, which is remarkable in and of itself. But that's the one thing that's like a constant theme, the house relatively stable that the market has been, despite, crazy things happening, COVID being, one of them. And even to Heidi, we had, the worst disaster in history, Hawaii's history, in Lahaina, and yet the market was relatively resilient, and even more so. So it's really a remarkable part about Hawaii real estate. Very, very stable. Heidi, what's your update? What's your Maui? What's the Maui market that you want to report on? And what's your prediction for 2025? Are you gonna stick with the group and do the more of the same, or is there different things that you see on the horizon? Heidi, what's going on?
Well, my headline is 2025. It's going to be a good market for buyers, and I would say a better market for buyers than in the past few years. And the reason is that buyers have more choices. There is simply more inventory available, especially for condos, but both for homes and condos, which gives buyers an opportunity to shop around, find the property they really love. Our market's amazingly resilient, like Oahu and the Big Island. Number of sales on Maui are pretty low compared to historic records. But people always have reasons for buying and selling. And the top reasons people have for buying and selling usually has to do with what's going on in their lives and their world, not really anything to do with the market. So I think if you're looking to buy in Hawaii in 2025, get connected with the great real estate agent, because all the micro markets work a little bit differently. We've been seeing a lot more price reductions. Doesn't always necessarily mean prices are going down. It just means the sellers have initially priced the properties too aggressively, and the rate of appreciation it is slowing compared to what we saw coming out of COVID. So get connected with the great real estate professional.
That's it. That's for darn sure. Get connected. Well, and I would say, yes, get connected to a great real estate professional and get connected to a great network of people that you're going to need to make this purchase happen. It means banks, it means appraisers, it means inspectors, it means all kinds of those other things that you're going to need. Get connected with a great network, which typically comes through a great agent. So Heidi, so what's like an example? So can you? I was curious when you gave an example when you mentioned that some people have kind of priced their homes a little bit too aggressively. How do you do you have an example that you can share that gives us a story to tell that of recent memory of something that you've seen that occurred and an opportunity that someone was able to take advantage of? Can you tell us a story? Can you tell us a little story?
Yeah, well, some of my clients we put together actually a seller finance deal, which I don't think would have been possible in a more aggressive market. But because the market's a little bit slower, we were able to put together a deal with really great price and terms that worked for these particular buyers that I was representing. And I don't think that would have happened 2 years ago because there was just so much competition in the market 2 years ago. Another big factor that we've talked about before that's kind of been this hangover in 2024 that's still going on, is the uncertainty about, are there going to be changes in regulations for vacation rentals? So that part of the market on Maui has been extremely slow, but there have been some investors coming in, basically betting on a positive outcome and getting properties at, good prices. So it's kind of on a case-by-case basis. 2 years ago, I mean, a seller would see, oh, there's the last comp, and just price it $100,000, $200,000 higher, and it would still sell. I mean, we're definitely not seeing that today. I mean, you really have to look at the comps and historical sales and be attuned with what's happening in the market.
So this goes back to Ashley's thing of terms, right? Terms is what makes the deal, what kind of makes the deal happen, which is kind of interesting. Heidi, I didn't get your headline prediction for 2025. What was that again?
It's a good market for buyers.
Good market for buyers. All right, that's a great summary there. Excellent. Anybody else have anything else that they want to kind of throw in but before we move on past the market updates and past the what's going on? Ashley, go ahead.
I do think that we have some variables we need to consider, like the non-occupancy tax. Once that comes back into play on the table, there'll be some things that'll affect what the buyer pools are. And, we always have something up the politicians' sleeves, right, that affect our market, but I don't think it'll be something huge. I'll be able to give more insight on the next show with our statistics of the buyer pools, but I know that there's a lot of buzz on, foreign buyers purchasing up the land here and everything. And I do want to say, just, we don't have the second half of the year, but from the first half of the year, we had 4.3 billion in sales for just Oahu alone. And Hawaii the residents here were 3.4 billion of that. So there's only about 1 billion in sales outside of Hawaii residents. And that was divided amongst the top 3 states that had purchased here were California, Washington, and Texas. And then the top 3 countries that had purchased outside of residents were Japan, Canada, and Korea. Japan far, outweighing with 88 purchases versus Canada's 21 versus Korea's 6. And China only had 3 sales. And this is for, just Oahu alone and just for the first half of the year. Next show, we'll have a full year landscape.
Yeah, that should be. Yeah, there was a little bit of that came up in the media. That there were some concerns about foreign buyers, which is interesting. Of course, there was. Yeah, are they Chinese foreign buyers? Japanese buying real estate. That was like from the 90s. The 90s are calling you back here. 1990 was like Japanese were buying real estate like crazy.
For perspective, out of 5,132 sales, the Japanese bought 88 homes. Out of 4.3 billion in sales, they bought about 100 billion in homes. So I think that is a narrative that we hear a lot, but a big, highlight to that is 3.4 billion of sales of the 4.3 were Hawaii residents. So I always like to just point that out because I find that statistic surprising because we constantly hear how we have so much foreign buyers. And now every island is different, but at least here on Oahu, we know it's staying with the residents.
Nothing like facts to kind of dispel, to calm rumors or dispel rumors, et cetera. So that's great. Hey, before we move on, I wanted to tell everyone to make sure if you got any questions, this show is for you. It's an Ask Us Anything. I've got a cold topic that we're going to talk about, but if you have questions, if there's anything you want to know about anything related to Hawaii, or I suppose anything else, but go ahead and this is an Ask Us Anything, I suppose. So anything means anything. Don't hesitate to ask us your questions. All right.
I wanted to add one piece of information to what Ashley was talking about with foreign being foreign, international versus mainland. But one of the things that, if you dig deep into the stats on that also, is that non-Hawaii residents, if you look at the dollar volume, that number is greater than the actual unit numbers. If you look at per unit, how many units they buy. And what that tells us is that they're buying higher priced properties, right? So what that also tells us is they're not buying properties that like normal people buy, right? Hawaii residents are buying normal properties that Hawaii residents can afford. Most of these outside of the state buyers are buying higher end luxury type properties, which really doesn't affect the the pool of potential homes for local people, because they're not buying $2 or $3 or $4 million homes to begin with. And so that's an important, I think, point to it also, is that, if you look at what segment of the market they're active in, it's not the normal segment that the vast majority of the population is buying in.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, that's an important piece. Excellent. Thanks for that contribution. All right, let's move on. So, hey, how did you get here? Did you get here through the website? Did you get the newsletter? The key thing is, did you get the newsletter on Wednesday that told you about the show today? If you did, you're good. If you did not, go to livinginhawaii.com. Dialog box will pop up. Put in your email address. Of course, you can unsubscribe at any time. We'll give you notifications for the newsletter. Content that we're always publishing new content. There's new videos, new content all about Hawaii. Living in Hawaii comes out every week, and you want to be a part of that. So sign up for that and be a part of what's going on here with Living in Hawaii. Great. All right. Okay. So what I was thinking about, that with that whole, unfortunately, I think that terrible tragedy of fireworks on Oahu really kind of made it really difficult to kind of celebrate how cool Hawaii is with fireworks. So what I'd want to do is I want us to talk about the big question for today is, what's special about the Hawaii holiday season? I was thinking about this as I was kind of driving around. I saw a bunch of things, and if we leave fireworks aside and we leave that off topic just for a moment, what do you folks, what comes to mind? Let's talk about the things that are unique about Hawaii or special about Hawaii during the holiday season. And I'm going to throw the whole thing for holiday season in. We're going to talk about whether it's Thanksgiving or whether it's Christmas or whether it's New Year, that entire holiday season. What kind of things do you see that are interesting or unique or special? I'll give a quick one, and then I want to hear from you folks. For example, what I thought was interesting was just to see something that we take for granted here, right? Which is people having a party inside their garage. Everyone has, and it's not even a garage, because most people have carports. Having a party, a family get together in a carport. I don't think you have that I know you don't have that on the mainland during the winter season, because it's too damn cold. But just the simple act, I'm seeing these, we're driving around the neighborhood, and I'm seeing, family, carport after carport, tables and chairs and barbecue, and people kind of enjoying themselves and having fun inside a carport. And I think that's a really interesting thing, a cool thing about Hawaii. Why don't we kind of go clockwise or whatever? We'll just have a conversation. Dylan, you've always got some cool stuff to kind of share. What do you think is kind of like the coolest or the funnest or the most unique thing about Hawaii during the holiday season?
Well, for me, it's definitely the gatherings and the food. And this year at my house, it was definitely a standard year of 25 to 30 people at every Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and all the different families and all the different ethnicities coming together. And New Year's was cool because we did like a soup theme for New Year's, because kind of like you want something you can eat like all day, right? Because we start in the afternoon and you go all the way to midnight and past midnight. And I made nishime, which is like a Japanese stew with chicken and a bunch of different Japanese vegetables, which is really one of my favorite things to eat, but we only make it during New Year's, and I don't really know why. I should do it more often. And then I had a friend make Portuguese bean soup, like traditional Portuguese bean soup, which is just absolutely amazing. And then my cousin's husband, who owns a seafood restaurant in the mainland, we're in town, and he made chiapino from his restaurant. And it was like the best chiapino I've ever had in my entire life. And it was just a cool, like, melding of the different cultures. And
Wait. Hold on a quick sec. Before you go on, what on earth is chiapino? I can't, it's stuck in my brain. Never heard of it.
Oh, it's like a seafood stew. So it's like clams, mussels, crab, scallops, shrimp. He put a local octopus in it that we had in the freezer. I mean, like, it was crazy. And it's just like in this red sauce, and it was a little bit spicy, and it was just amazing. I cooked it for like 24 hours before he put all the seafood in. It was just off the hook. And with fresh bread that my auntie made, it was just a killer meal. And so That's always my favorite part, is just everybody coming together, all the different all different cultures, and the food is always great. And the other thing I wanted to mention before we move on is, and this is Hawaii thing in general, right? It's just the aloha that exists here. And so I'll share a story about my son. The day after Christmas, we went camping, and the surf was huge, and they all went out. Probably shouldn't have. It was probably bigger than they should. The waves were bigger than I felt good about them going out, but they kind of went out, and we were watching, and long story short, two of them come back in, and my younger one gets stuck outside, like way outside the break, because there's a rip current going out. And this boat comes driving by, this fisherman, and kind of noticed that this kid was probably too far out and probably in trouble. So he turns around and comes back. And we're watching this. They're, 100 yards off ashore, 150 yards off ashore. And he jumps on this guy's boat. And this guy takes him. So we see our kid, drive away on this boat. And we're like, okay, now what do we do? And he just took him down the shoreline to a calmer area where there wasn't any surf. And he jumped off, climbed up on the rocks and walked back. But, that's the kind of stuff that, I don't know if it happens everywhere where somebody just kind of noticed that this is somebody that needed help and stopped. I mean, and really was a huge help, because I was about to swim out there and risk my life to try and get out to past the break to go help him. I don't know how we would have got in either if I was out there with him. So just the cool thing about Hawaii and the Christmas season is, you see examples of that everywhere. So.
Man, that's a great story that helped avoid a potentially much more serious tragedy. There's nothing
Absolutely.
more.
Yeah.
There's nothing more terrifying. As someone who's been surfing most of my life, almost all my life, there's nothing more terrifying than being in stuff a little bit, even a little bit over your head, but like way over your head, not physically, not feet over your head. I mean, ability over your head. That is, and when you're out in the water and you realize that is nothing more terrifying than that. Yeah. Great. I'm glad that was that's a happy story. Actually, what have you observed that is unique about Hawaii or special about Hawaii that really we don't think we can get like anywhere else?
I mean, I think everyone is going to say the food and the people, right? Because it is unprecedented in anywhere else I can think of in America. And I suppose I'll add weather, because, we're swimming in the pool or we're going to the beach and we're all hanging out. It's an all day thing. And it's not like you're showing up with your shoes on and you hang your coat up in a specific spot and you sit down or watch a game, for 3 hours. It's like, it's an all day thing. Like, everyone's bringing food and everyone's hanging out and they're coming and they're going. And the older kids are biking down to the beach or they're going surfing. The other ones are going to the stores. It's just a lot of fun. I know I'm not supposed to say fireworks in lieu of what happened, but
it's okay to say fireworks. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
We're, for good, bad, or indifferent, it's very traditional for my other half. He's born and raised here and he's been doing fireworks since he was a little boy. It's a rite of passage. And so we just have an absolute blast and time of our life. No pun intended. And we're very safe about it as well. And we're not big into drinking. So that's the other thing too, that I don't think fireworks and alcohol mix well. And we're not really a drinking household. So we safely do fireworks from the house, and it is super fun. And it's a tradition that I personally love very much.
Yeah, I'm with you. We are going to circle back and talk about that, because I think there's a big issue going on with the Hawaiian and the fireworks and legal and all kinds of stuff. And I've got some thoughts on it. So I do want to save that too. So thanks for mentioning that. But yeah, that's what it's all about. I had, Heidi, before we go to you, what I had done is I had asked our members of our islander Ohana to get their perspective. And I think it's an interesting one, because we've all been here for a long time. And so there's a lot of things that we take for granted that we are just kind of built into everything. And I think what's interesting is to ask people who have recently moved here within under 5 years, what do they think is unique? But before I do that, I want to say hi to Linda Kawakami. Thank you, Linda. Hawaii continues traditions here that even native Japanese don't do, like pounding mochi. That's another classic, pounding mochi. Dylan, I want to hear about your mochi pounding experiences, eating traditional foods like soba and mochi, etc. Yeah, pounding mochi is Dylan, does your family do pounding of the mochi for New Year's? Can you explain what that is so people understand?
Yeah, we do it the modern way though. So there's the old school way where you basically cook mochi rice. It's a special kind of rice. It's a little bit sweeter, and you put it in like a stone bowl, and then two people hit it with a huge hammer, and you turn it into this ball of basically sticky rice, and you can fill it with different things like sweet beans, or nowadays they get really fancy. You can put strawberries in there with chocolate, and people put Reese's peanut butter cups, all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of like a Japanese dessert, but you can also do it with a machine. So we actually have these machines. So we do this on New Year's Day. It's a tradition where one of the things we do is we eat this thing called ozoni, which is a Japanese good luck soup. It's got a bunch of different vegetables and clams in it, and you eat it with mochi. So you make the mochi, you fry it so it's like crispy, and then you pour the soup over it, and you eat the mochi with the soup. And you're supposed to be your first meal of the year. And that's what we do basically. Is like 10 a.m. on New Year's Day, we all get together and we eat the soup, and then we have lunch in the afternoon when everybody comes over. But it's a big, huge operation, and all of it's really cool because like when you take the pictures, there's like the old generations, there's people from like 70 down to like 4 years old, all in this process making the mochi, and then everybody gets to take it home afterwards, and the little kids and nephews and the nieces can make it like the special ways or whatever kind of candy they want to put inside. And then we have the real traditional stuff that's just you eat it with the powder, like it's called kinako. It's like this powdered soybeans, and so you put that over the mochi and it gives it some flavor. So yeah, definitely something we do every year. And what's funny is the biggest driver of that tradition is my haole wife. Like she loves doing that, so she organizes the whole thing and makes sure all the aunties and uncles know what to bring, and that she invites everybody over. But that's like her favorite thing. So it's one of those great examples of just doesn't matter what your actual heritage is. It's keeping the culture alive is everybody's responsibility. So
I had chiapino because my girlfriend made it, and she made it for New Year's, and we ate it for 2 days. And also my escrow officer brought over an entire pan of homemade mochi that she was giving out as a New Year's gift. A whole pan. If anyone wants some, come over. I have a lot.
May take you up on that. Hey, I wanted to catch up on some comments first. Sorry, Heidi, just hang in there. I want to hear what Heidi's got to say. Chris agrees. Chris West says Chiopino is awesome. I'm glad that that you at least, Chris, you knew what it was. I didn't know what it. I mean, I've had it. I just didn't know what to call it. So I've had the food, didn't know what to call it. Vern and Hannah are here, and they say what's so unique about Hawaii, no matter what the season or occasion is, no slippers and shoes in the house. Yeah, that is definitely a cool thing about Hawaii. And a classic, veteran member of the Islander Ohana, I think one of the first cohorts, if not the first cohort years ago, Kinaya. Hey, Kinaya from Austin, Texas. My boy insisted I give a shout out. Happy New Year. We'll see you all soon. Kinaya, that'd be great. Looking forward to the next time you come back and visit us. And I know Kinaya has the dream of moving to Hawaii, and I know that dream is going to happen. And looking forward to that day. Heidi, what have you observed that is kind of cool and special and probably unique about Hawaii that really doesn't exist anywhere else during the holiday season?
For me, I just love all the outdoor parties, and people are just so welcoming and inclusive. I do love mochi ice cream. That is delicious. If you haven't tried it, that's one of my favorites. But I think just the weather is phenomenal. It's a little bit cooler this time of year, so it's closer to 70 rather than 80. And it just feels so fresh. The whales are here, and you can spend all day outside and watch the sunset on Christmas Day.
Yeah, kind of tough to beat whale watching. Yeah, you kind of can't up that one. You can't top that too much more. So that's thank you, Heidi, for helping out with that. I wanted to bring in a few of the comments. I mentioned that some of our Islander Ohana folks have contributed to what they've observed is kind of unique, and it's kind of chimes into what we're all saying here. So, for example, Kathy and Ed. They enjoy snorkeling on Christmas Day and seeing turtles. Where on earth can you snorkel on Christmas Day and see sea turtles? I have to admit that one. It's interesting. Now, Auntie Joan gave a great comment, and Auntie Jones, again, these are all Islander Ohana members. She says, I love how invested Hawaii is in celebrating the Christmas season. Friends on the mainland asked me if it felt like Christmas because of the weather. Hawaii goes all out, from the city lights to the Christmas parades, to funny seasonal trees, to decorations all over town. Being able to go to the beach is just a cherry on top. I never kind of thought about that Hawaii actually kind of, does a big deal, but we do. And again, this is one of the things that we take for granted, but we do. There's the boat parade. Heather brought up the boat parade. We have a boat parade in Hawaii Kai where we have where else can you go to see a parade of boats dressed up with Christmas lights? Maybe it happens in Florida. Maybe they do it in Florida. I'm not too sure. But we have a boat parade in Hawaii Kai with Christmas lights. What's another thing over here? I should have gotten a photo of this, but if you folks, you could look it up if you want. Look up the Shaka Santa in downtown Honolulu. I don't think there exists a Santa Claus, a type of Santa Claus who's got shorts on, bare feet, with his toes in the water and giving the shaka. I don't think that exists anywhere else. I think that's a unique Hawaii thing. So I think those are a couple of things that our folks from the mainland have brought up. So good thoughts. Oh, Auntie Joan is with us. Great. Hey, Auntie Joan, Happy New Year. Yeah, I was just talking about your. I hope you heard my quoting you on your Christmas observation about Hawaii. Happy New Year. Welcome back. Let's see. Let's do this first. Let's hit the. I do want to talk about the fireworks, but I want to let's do our diamonds and deals first. Let's talk about our properties and make sure we get like the important stuff in not out of the way, but we talk about the important stuff. Let's get that done, and then we'll come back and if we have some time, we'll talk about the other stuff. So, friends, here we have our good friends over here who have put together what they think are properties that are worth knowing about, either diamond properties or deals, or sometimes both. And so let's go through that right now and get our diamonds and deals. What is this first one that we've got? This Molokai. Wow, cool, awesome. Heidi, what's this?
This is a truly phenomenal property. I just listed over on Molokai. It's almost 6 acres, direct beachfront on the nicest stretch of Papahaku Beach, which is one of the largest beaches in Hawaii. It's very, very quiet. Like, it's not a crowded beach at all. And you can see in the top right-hand picture, which is the aerial view, from the front of this house, you walk over the dune and the beach is right there, 3-mile long, beautiful white sand beach. The property includes a main home, a cottage, a swimming pool, and then that plunge pool. There's an orchard. There's even a labyrinth garden. It's just a very unique estate. And it's offered at $5,330,000, which it's a diamond, but it's also a deal for this type of beachfront property anywhere in Hawaii. So really excited to present it.
Yeah, thanks. That is a deal. I mean, in terms of like, now in the description here, it says 5.95 acres of land fronting the beach. Is that accurate? So it's 5, almost, let's say 6 acres fronting the beach. Is that true?
Yeah, this is something you cannot get on any other island. Especially not for anywhere close to this price. So Molokai, it's more remote, it's more rural. But if you're looking for privacy, seclusion, and an awesome estate right on the beach, I mean, this is truly, it's a diamond and a deal. Unbelievable.
That is, I don't think this is the most unique property that we've had, the most special, rarest, etc. property that I think that we've ever had. So thank you, Heidi, for bringing this. We can all dream of living on 6 acres of ocean front on a completely secluded beach with no one probably around you for miles, I'll bet. That's a great one. Thank you, Heidi. All right, Ashley, boy, we got some great ones going on. Ashley, what do we got over here in Laie?
So this is in Laie. This is a duplex. The bottom half is being sold. So something you never often see in Hawaii is a duplex that goes top bottom. It's usually side to side. So this builder, he did top and bottom. You are right. If you see the parking lot in the top right photo, that's the parking lot to their church. And so if you are familiar with Laie, it's a strong Mormon community. BYU, Brigham Young University is here. The Polynesian Cultural Center is here. So you have a lot of students and professors that live in this area. And particularly on this section of Laie is very walkable. So a lot of people don't even have cars. They all walk to everything that they need to go. So you are across the beach, across the street from the beach. You can walk to the college. You can walk to the shopping centers. You can go fishing at Laie Point, and you don't usually see something under $1 million for a home there. This is also right around the corner from the Marriott too.
That's really cool. Now, so you mentioned this is the bottom part of a duplex. So, is it like there's okay, it's the bottom part of a duplex, so that means that there's another unit above you, and I'm assuming that unit you don't own, you just own the bottom part. So it's almost like a two-story condo. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is a 4-unit CPR. So CPRs are very unique to Hawaii as well. They stand for condominium project regime. It's where you condominiumize the land. And so they can look and act like a single family home, but they are condos. And so this particular part of the CPR includes two attached homes. So the blue house to the right, that's an attached home with the one in the front of it. And then this white structure just finished being built last month. And this is the third and fourth unit of this 4-unit CPR. So the seller is looking to sell the entire building, but each half is $995. So the bottom and top each are 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms. They're large at approximately 1,732 square feet. They do have designated yard space. They each have designated parking as well. And I don't have the photo in here, but like it does have this really nice primary bedroom with a standalone soaking tub and this really large walk-in shower, dual vanity. So it's nice for being in an area that you have a lot of students as well. So what's common for this area, like we've already had a lot of showings. We just went live a couple of days ago. We have a lot of people who are looking to see what the density capacity would be for BYU students is, a common pool of buyer interest that we're seeing. But honestly, it's great for anyone who's just looking to stay here. I have so many friends and family that live around in this area as primary residents. And for someone who's just trying to get their foot in the door, it could work. In a perfect world, I wish someone could buy both halves.
There you go. Buy both halves and rent out one half to BYU students. And I'm sure you could easily, with the 3-bedroom, wouldn't be any problem at all, probably. Awesome. Great location too. Great property. Thanks. Thank you, Ashley. All right. I'm looking forward to now. It's always fun. There's always like a fun mix of things that kind of come together in their own way. We've had this unbelievable property from Molokai, and we've got this really cool home from Laie. So I can't wait to see what Dylan's got for us. So Dylan, what is on deck here? What are we looking at? What is this?
Yeah, this is a super cool like estate/mini ranch type property. It's in Kaloko, which is almost directly above the airport. So from this house, you can see in the pictures on the left, like the view that you have from the living room and from the kitchen. I mean, you have just a huge 180-degree ocean view looking down. This is at like 2,000 feet of elevation, and it's really steep getting back down to the ocean. So you have a killer coastline view. I mean, sweeping coastline view, and it's on 3 acres. You got this beautiful 4,800 square foot home. It has an attached ohana on it, separate unit. But you have basically like 2 solid acres below it of pasture land, and it's down below. So it's not really in your view, but you have to look down into it. But if you want to have horses or goats or sheep, I mean, it's a super cool kind of ranch type property, but beautiful sprawling home also if you need a home with a lot of square footage. And not common, that the 5,000 square foot home is not super common, but it does have the ohana, which is about 1,500 square feet attached to it. So lots of space, beautiful place, but and beautiful area up in Kaloko. It's a huge agricultural subdivision right above Kona, right above the airport. So you can basically watch your friends and family's planes start to approach, and that's when you got to get in your car and drive down, because by the time you get to the airport, they'll be walking out of the gate. So it's super easy to time your airport pickups from here.
It's great for airport pickups. I'm looking at that huge, I don't want to call it a lawn, but that giant empty
pasture
space.
Yeah.
Is that so? Pasture? Do they have like cows on that thing? Do they have animals on it, or right now it's just nothing?
Currently, no animals. Yeah, but you could easily, put some horses in there, or some sheep or some goats to keep the grass down. So they mow it right now, but yeah, perfect for animals.
Is it fenced?
It is. Might need a couple of updates because the fences are on the other side, other properties. It might depending on what kind of animal you put in there. Horses are pretty easy. You don't need a super solid fence for horses. They don't really go too crazy. But if you get goats, they can be pretty squirrely about crawling under stuff, and you do need a good solid hog wire fence for goats.
But you would get goats only if you want them to completely eat everything on your property. Who's that? You mentioned there's some at least one company on the Big Island that does that cuts your grass by bringing a herd of goats onto your property and let them loose, which is
Yeah, it's called
so
it's
cool
it's
and so
called it's
fun.
called goat dozers. And so if you want to clear property of brush naturally, they bring in a herd, they put up a temporary fence, and then release the herd. And you leave them in there for a couple of days, and they eat absolutely everything. So it's a great way to clear brush.
Absolutely everything. And and there's nothing, and I don't care how good your mechanized lawnmowers are. If you have any kind of like a ravine or steep hills or stuff like that, you can't go up and down that with a mower. But a goat, no problemo, man. Goat will go in the craziest place that you could never imagine. I don't know why I got off on that tangent about goats. All right, cool. Hey, we do have a few minutes. I did want to chat really quick. I want to get your guys' thoughts on the fireworks issue. So actually, I think to your point, and you made an important comment, which is that your other half, it's a generational thing. He's been doing fireworks since he was a kid, and this is the case with everybody in Hawaii. I mean, here's what's interesting. So what's interesting is this: I think the aerials in Hawaii are a great example of an unintended consequence, and the unintended consequence is this. Not too many years ago, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, fireworks were legal. And before that, they were legal forever. I remember walking into Long's Drugs, or CVS Pharmacy of today. I remember walking into Long's and buying a ginormous roll of 10,000 fireworks. And it was massive, a massive roll. And you'd buy it at Long's next to the shampoo, and then you'd walk out with it just like anything else. And, people had firecrackers. It was so wild. You'd have, on, you drive around on New Year's Eve and the streets were literally red. The streets were all red, covered with firecracker paper. And there were very, very, very few aerials, yes, they were there, but it was super rare. And now, so we make it illegal. And I think what we're experiencing is something like prohibition, all the right of intentions. Let's make alcohol illegal, but the whole country wants to keep drinking. And so they kept drinking anyway, and it gave rise to mafias. It gave drive to organized crime. It gave drive to all kinds of really terrible unintended consequences. Same thing here. We had firecrackers. They were legal. They made it illegal. It's deeply a cultural Hawaii thing. It goes back to Chinese roots, Asian roots, celebrating the new year, the whole bit. Everyone's going to keep doing it. They're going to keep doing it. But now because it's illegal, well, hell, you might as well get the aerials. If you're gonna be illegal, you might as well get illegal with the good stuff, not the cheap stuff. And so now we have this horrible thing where aerials are all over the place. They are dangerous, and I'm glad that this is the first time that this has happened in years now. People are pretty cool about it because they like their fireworks. But we have this unintended consequence, and now unfortunately, because of this terrible tragedy, my guess is they're going to probably clamp down on it further. I have a contrary perspective. My contrary perspective is, make firecrackers legal again and clamp down hard on the aerials. Let people blow off the firecrackers the way we used to. Let the culture go versus making everybody a criminal on New Year's Eve. All right, I'm off my horse. Dylan, I want to get your take on that. You've always got a good political eye on kind of what's going on. What's your take on either my commentary or the situation?
Well, one thing I wanted to add context, right? What of a freak accident this was. So basically, what happened was these folks were shooting off aerial cake. So that's multiple aerials all at once, not just one ball that goes up and blows up. And this thing fell over and shot into the garage where all of the fireworks were stored, and then set off all the fireworks that were in the garage. And this is a party where a bunch of people were. So, I mean, just absolutely insane freak accident. But I totally agree with Peter. I mean, we've seen a rise in. And every county is different. Oahu has like a complete ban on fireworks, which is really ironic. And it's a complete fail of government because they absolutely do not enforce it at all. I mean, if you look at the amount of fireworks that go off, there's clearly zero effort to enforce it at all. But on the Big Island, regular kind of fireworks are illegal, like little fountains that don't go over 6 feet and kind of the firecrackers and stuff. But to raise revenue, they've created a bunch of permits that you have to buy in order to buy the fireworks in the first place, which makes the fireworks like twice as expensive. So what do people do? They just go buy the illegal stuff, because if you're going to spend a bunch of money, it's like, why buy the legal stuff at the same price where you can buy the illegal stuff? And then and there's clearly a huge supply and no shortage of access to illegal fireworks. And so we still see, like we do on Oahu, tons and tons of illegal fireworks. But I would note, I've never appreciated my dad's safety precautions when it comes to fireworks. He for years I've watched him. He keeps the fireworks store, like we do them in the front yard, but he puts them like on the side, on the corner of the house in the carport in coolers. So like we don't take them out of the cooler until you actually go and blow them off. And I just thought he was just OCD and, you know, overly cautious. But now it makes a lot of sense to me why you would do that, because it pretty much prevents those fireworks from being lit off unintentionally because they're inside of an insulated cooler, right? I mean, it's not foolproof, but it's pretty damn safe in terms of precautionary measure. So my dad's smarter than I thought he was, I guess.
You know, had your dads had they followed your dad's safety precautions, they wouldn't have had this terrible tragedy occur. I think it's like prohibition. Ashley or Heidi, you guys want to jump in and put your 2 cents on this topic? Anything you want to add? Everybody's staying silent. Okay, all right.
Wait, Heidi was muted. I think she was trying to go.
Oh. Sorry, I was muted. I think especially, I mean, living in West Maui after being here during the Lahaina fire in 2023, it's not very comforting hearing all the explosions. And I think there are a lot of people that still feel that way here. Also, people set off fireworks all year here. I mean, not every day, but it seems like a lot. And I think since the Lahaina fire, it's something I enjoy a little bit less because just also concern about fire. Like, I mean, right now we've had a lot of rain. It's not really high risk, but especially in the summer when there's dry grass and stuff, I mean, call me no fun, but it just makes me uncomfortable. And I actually lived here a long time before I realized fireworks were illegal. I just assumed they were legal because everybody's setting them off all the time. And on New Year's, they started setting them off about noon, and then through just yesterday, I mean, there's been fireworks going off in my neighborhood, which...
Heidi, look, I totally get it, man. I could totally understand the PTSD related. You just had the most horrific fire that killed, you know, so many people, and to see fireworks going off. Yeah, I completely understand that perspective. It's what I love about the diversity of this group. Yeah, thank you, Heidi, for sharing. Ashley, what about you?
I think another important thing to add about, you know, the horrible tragedy is it was a cake of fireworks, but I believe they had it on a man-made stand. So they created this stand and they built it, and then they put their cake on it, and they used very large fireworks. So not just, there's different, obviously, capacity of aerials, and they use these very large aerials, and that whole thing, the contraption, I believe, is what fell over or tilted. And regarding, like, I do have, although, like, I appreciate safe, you know, tradition of doing it, and I do personally enjoy it, and I know our family does as well, and it's something that, you know, I know might be short-lived. I don't like when people do it, you know, off season. So we have a lot of dogs. We have 3 dogs and a cat, and our neighbors, you know, have a lot of dogs, and they are going off, you know, days before Christmas. They're going off around Thanksgiving. They go off all year. I can't stand that. And I feel like a Karen, and he's like, leave it be. I'm like, but that's not tradition. It's not tradition to just light them off 2 days before Christmas for no reason. And those people are the ones that are selling them. And you can always tell who's selling the fireworks illegally because they can blow them off and they can use that money very freely because they get them so cheap. And so I feel like if you want to crack down on anything, find the people who are selling them that are lighting them off at all hours of random days, because the dogs, there has not been peace in our home, you know, since Thanksgiving. I mean, it's just so tense all the time with the dogs. At least on New Year's Eve, we can drug the dogs. We can get them CBD doggy treats. We can put them in an AC room, play them a movie. We can prepare the household and the pets for them. But when you're just doing them randomly all the time, I personally can't stand that. I
completely agree. Completely agree. I mean, the tradition is New Year's Eve, right? That's the tradition. It's New Year's Eve, and let's say the 4th of July.
4th of July. We don't even do that 4th of July, but every once in a while you have people who sell them that'll just go ham.
Yeah. I totally agree. We got a couple of folks here I want to recognize. CD Hollis says aloha and happy new year, Dylan and the gang. Say there, I'm glad you're with us. And Misty is here with us too. Misty put a little happy new year, awesome ones. No, the awesome one. You're the awesome one, Misty. You're the awesome one. Thanks for being a part of it. All right, great. All right. Let's if you guys have any final thoughts, go ahead and bring them up. Otherwise, I'm gonna move ahead and we're gonna close up with our we'll wrap this up with our closing thoughts. If you've got some closing thoughts that you want to share, and any New Year's wishes, anything at all that you want to have, any wisdom thoughts that you've got, please share it. Let's start with Ashley, who picked the right graphic. Thank you, Ashley. What do we got? What is this, and what does this mean to you?
My assistant did that. I did not mean for that under the circumstances.
It's all right. It's all good. It's perfect. It's perfect. Go.
Good is the evil of great. I think that we can all become pretty content when things are good. And so when things are good, we tend to not want to make any shift or change. And when you're good, you often are in a comfort zone and it gets in the way of something great.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of great, Auntie Joan, may 2025 bring everyone everywhere abundant health, abundant wealth, and abundant love. Amen to that. Thank you, Auntie Joan. That's a great, wonderful. Thank you very much for bringing that up. We really appreciate it. Heidi, what's yours today, and how is it significant for you?
So this is just a little thought for the new year in creating good habits for 2025. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, it's a habit. And I believe this quote is from Aristotle. It's not from me, but just a thought for the new year. And I do want to comment on Ashley's picture. The fireworks being set over the ocean, I'm perfectly comfortable with. Fireworks in the carport, that's what I don't like.
Well said. Yeah, there you go. See, Ashley, it was perfect. Your assistant did a great job. It's fireworks over the ocean. It's over the sand. Perfect.
I mean, I'm conflicted because I also know how much waste and debris and pollution comes from fireworks as well. So that's always in my head when you said bring back the red firecrackers. I mean, all I'm thinking is how much litter that created and goes into our oceans. And when we light fireworks over any place, it litters our oceans.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I was just thinking from a safety.
Right.
But yeah, we don't really want them in the ocean either. So yeah, I don't know.
I'm conflicted.
Yeah, I'm conflicted too. I just thankfully we did survive for hundreds of years with tons and tons of red paper going into the water, and we're still okay. But anyway, let's move on. Dylan, what's yours today? What's yours, and how is it significant to you?
I just thought this and I loved it, right? So we're in the season of making goals and resolutions. So here's a pro tip is next to each goal or resolution that you write down something that you're willing to give up to get it. And we had this discussion, and, I think weight loss and fitness is like always a goal of many, many people. And I was having this discussion with some folks on the team. We were doing goal setting, and it came up, and I was like, man, it's so hard to start going to the gym or starting a new diet or starting this new habit. And sometimes we think to get a goal, we got to start something, when I'm like, it's not that complicated. Why don't you just stop eating breakfast? If you just cut one meal out a day, you take out 30% of the calories you would have intake that day, and then you're good to go. You don't have to do anything. You have to change your lifestyle at all. Just stop doing one thing. And so sometimes I think that's a good perspective is what can I stop doing in order to get what I need, instead of trying to add a new routine or add a new habit or add a new practice or whatever, right? That we always try to build into our world.
Excellent. Replace the habit with another one. Replace the habit with a better one, as opposed to adding something on, because adding is difficult. Well, everything is difficult, but replacing is good, because you get the double whammy. You get the minus of the bad thing and you get the plus of the good thing, all within the same place. Well said. Thanks. All right. Well, I tried to find a proverb that was related, so I think I got this one. This is about resolutions and New Year's plans. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. In other words, what we're really saying here is commit your work to a higher power. Whatever you think the higher power is in your life, commit your work to that, not yourself. Commit your work to a higher power, and everything will work out the way the plans will be established. So commit to the higher power is what you want to do. And that is the wisdom of 20. Heidi, you mentioned you got your quote from Aristotle. 2,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago. This Proverbs is right there. I think it's maybe 3,000 years ago. Yeah, old wisdom is great, especially if I don't have to come up with a quote. So there you go. So, and Misty likes the quote. Misty likes the tip there, Dylan. So thanks, Misty, for chiming in. All right, great. Well, thanks, folks, for helping being here with us today. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty in the beginning. I had a near disaster, but we survived it. It's going to be a great 2025. We're going to see you in a couple weeks. Let's say goodbye counterclockwise. First Heidi, then Ashley, and then Dylan. Say goodbye.
Aloha, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Hello, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.
Have a fabulous weekend. Have a fabulous 2025, and we'll see you folks in 2 weeks. Aloha.